So today, October 28th, 2023, is the 7th year anniversary release of Titanfall 2. Ever since they made the multiplayer servers actually playable again, I've been addicted to this game, to say the least. So today, on Titanfall 2's 7th birthday, I just wanted to look back on the game, and why this game is so great, and why I just love this game. So here we go, I'm doing a review, let's just get right into it. So I just want to start by saying that the campaign to this game is probably one of the best campaigns I have ever even played. However, it is a very short campaign. It'll only take you maybe 5 hours to complete, and it does feel very short. However, nothing feels rushed or just blown right through, because I just hate when games or stories or like anything with the story, movies even, just prolong everything, and it takes forever to get through and just gets very annoying. So that's what I like about this game, is the campaign is short. It does feel short, but nothing is rushed, and it feels just right. Titanfall 2's story starts off with you as Rifleman Jack Cooper aboard a spaceship undergoing pilot training. Before you know it, the spaceship gets attacked, and you're falling down to the planet, where you meet your pilot trainer, Captain Lastimosa, and he gets taken down pretty quickly by a group of mercenaries called the Apex Predators. With only you and your former captain's Titan left, you have no choice but to embark on the Titan and continue the mission. Before you know it, you stumble into a secret bad guy facility where you meet your first boss fight, Kane. He's a pretty easy boss fight to defeat, mostly because he's the first one, and also because he's a Scorch main. I'm just saying. So after you defeat Kane, you have to continue through the facility. The further you go into the facility is some of the best level design I've ever seen. And don't just take it from me, there's a bunch of people who played this game, a bunch of YouTubers who will say the same thing as me. I mean, I'm not the first person to say this. I think the factory, especially the part where you start going into this weird construction facility where they're kind of building these artificial neighborhoods, and before you know it, you're in this artificial neighborhood that's like sideways and upside down, and it's really unique and creative. As you continue, you eventually meet up with your second boss fight, which is Ash. If you play Apex Legends, that might sound familiar to you. Ash used to be my main in Apex Legends. Anyway, you take down Ash pretty easily, you know what I mean? You just give her a little squish, little love hug, you know? And then after that, in a separate section of the facility, you have this really unique time travel element storyline. And again, if you've ever seen a YouTube video about Titanfall 2, I'm sure they talked about just how amazing this time travel mechanic and how like unique it is, and it is really fun and unique. It's super engaging to play, and just nothing like I've ever seen before. It's really neat. I'm kind of skipping through a lot here, but later on, you meet up with some of your militia allies, and then you're tasked with fixing a satellite dish, which after you fix the satellite dish, you meet your third boss fight, which is Richter. I have to say, it's probably not as fun or unique to fight as maybe the last fight you've been with Ash. I don't think the fight was as engaging or cool, but it was still a fun fight nonetheless. Fast forward a few missions, and the next thing you know, you're in a giant aircraft trying to pursue the enemy IMC, when the fourth big boss fight, Viper, shows up. The Viper is easily probably the best and most engaging boss fight, not to mention he's just probably the coolest enemy out of all of them. So if you ever, most Titanfall fans could probably agree that he was probably the best villain, in this entire game. Eventually the big aircraft that you're on crashes, and that's when you and BT are taken hostage by the big bad Cuban Blisk. After Blisk gets what he wants and BT is seemingly dead, your only objective is just to get out of the facility that you're trapped in and pretty much just survive. And hopefully you didn't shed any tears, because BT isn't actually dead since you got his eyeball kit thing. One of the allies calls down another Titan for you to put BT's eyeball thing data core in, and you go on your way to find the main villain, Blisk, again. Eventually you do catch up to Blisk right before he's about to deploy the big weapon thing, and you end up having to fight his henchman Sloan while there's a ticking clock for that big weapon to kind of deploy. And I have to say, if there is one thing that I think was disappointing from Titanfall 2, it was probably this final fight. I just don't think the final fight was all that climactic, but it did the job. It was good enough. But after that fight, it leaves BT incapacitated temporarily, and that leads to one of the probably most iconic moments in this entire game.
It's your lucky day, hero. I'm not going to kill you. You don't get to kill me either. Yeah, you earned this, eh?
Once Blisk leaves and BT is no longer incapacitated, BT figured that the only way to stop the weapon was to detonate his Titan core from inside it. And if you were shedding a tear at the apparent death of BT just a few minutes ago, then you should probably bring a big box of tissues with you for this one. Overall, the Titanfall 2 campaign is probably one of the best campaigns I've ever played. It doesn't reinvent the wheel or anything with the story. It's not really that difficult to grasp and comprehend. But its level design and execution of the story just makes this game just another level. While this game is short, it definitely packs a punch, and I would recommend it, especially if you haven't played it yet. It's just, how have you not played it already? It's such a great game. And if you don't know, if you stick around after the end credits, it does have a little teaser for a maybe Titanfall 3. Who knows? To be honest, I don't really have too much to say about the multiplayer other than the fact that it's great. There is a ton of game modes that you could choose from. My personal favorite game modes being Attrition, Titan Brawl, and Last Titan Standing. And speaking of Titans, there are 7 Titans where you can choose from. There are 7 Titans of which you can choose from. Monarch and Ronin being my personal favorites. But each Titan plays differently and they each have their own pros and cons. They're all very good, except for Scorch. And there are also different pilots you can choose from, each of them having their own different abilities, like I think AWOL, I use Phase Shift, there's also Grapple, and there's a few more. Overall, the multiplayer is really enjoyable, and I think probably the most lackluster, kind of disappointing aspect of it is I don't think there's a whole lot of good customization. It's not a big deal, but it is something they can improve if they do a Titanfall 3. Also, the skill ceiling is pretty high, so it can feel a little intimidating to new players, but you do kind of get the hang of it, decently quickly. So overall, I think Titanfall 2 is probably one of the best games you can buy right now, even though it's 7 years old. And there's really not too much more I have to say about that. I mean, I could say that the story is great, the multiplayer is great, and this, that, and the other, but that's basically what this whole video is about, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, so yeah, if you have the money to spare, just get this game. It's really good. Especially if you're an Apex player, you'll probably enjoy this. Hopefully there's a Titanfall 3 waiting for us right around the corner. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on with Titanfall, like almost like they're teasing something. I don't want to kind of get on the hype train, because I feel like it's gonna end up being something a little disappointing. I'm not pessimistic, but that's just kind of how I feel about that. Especially with the new season of Apex centered around this character that has like a Titan battery or something. It kind of seems just like a big promo for Apex, if you ask me. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Titanfall 2. Thank you for watching this video. If you made it to the end, thank you for watching all of it. Sorry I did a lot of kind of breathing into the mic, especially when I was covering the campaign. I didn't realize how close the mic was to my mouth, so sorry you got a lot of those, you can hear me breathing. Stay tuned because I think I'm going to do a ranking of the Titanfall 2 Titans, and I might do an Apex video. Hopefully they add cross progression so I can actually do more Apex videos. That would be awesome. Alright, so yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.